up, creeps? I'm Exorcist,
And I'm Boo.
and we are Scurred. Long time no see. What?
That was funny.
Well, it is. I mean, we just said in number 6 that we were going to record number 7 right after it. So I'm not surprising anybody if they were studious Scurred students and just watch number 6.
Yeah.
Blackwell Ghost 6, that is. That's what we're referring to. And it's time to record number 7.
I'm excited for this one.
I feel better about number 7. And I told you that we were going to say something witty like we did in the last video where we said, really he could have just skipped 6 and put it in the first few minutes of number 7. And honestly, we probably could have skipped the last review and just included it in number 7.
You just got to keep up with the theme. He didn't put out his best work for that one, so neither did we.
No. But we're back, and we're excited because Blackwell Ghost 7 just dropped. If you're watching this in future years, it's like 2022, November.
Yeah, November 2022. That's when it happened.
Just in case we time hop in the future and in 20 years you're watching this, which you won't because it'll be pretty irrelevant.
I think YouTube will be irrelevant.
I don't know.
In 20 years. I don't know.
I don't want to get in this debate anyway.
No.
But that's a whole other channel.
Yeah.
Okay, Boo. Let's break it down. 6 was terrible, but we are pretty excited about number 7.
Yeah, I definitely, it was worth watching for sure.
We can't say that part yet. I mean, we can, but we'll get to
I enjoyed it.
So, same thing with number 6. Like, what we did is we said, okay, we do have the new enhanced Scurred scale, the ESS.
That's pretty good.
I just made that up right now.
That's good.
But we're not going to use that for this film series because we didn't start with it. And by golly, why would we go into the last 2 films, especially after number 6, and, give it a different set of ratings?
Yeah, I think everything has to be kind of level with that.
I agree. So let's break it down a little bit. In 6, we learned pretty much nothing, except for he bought the Lightfoot house, his wife died, and
that's it.
That could be it.
That's it.
So what happened? Where do we begin in number 7?
Number 7 actually begins, like we said, with what happened in number 6. He literally summed up number 6 in 5 minutes and should have just started with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much the synopsis of where it starts. But it had a different feel to it. It had a different feel than number 6, and it kind of did. I wouldn't say it time hopped because it really didn't go too far forward. No. But where it started was he was back at the Lightfoot house, and he was walking through the woods, taking 800 step. He was back to the, what do you call it? The handprint.
Yeah, the clue.
Yeah. And he's doing what he damn well should be doing at this point. He's looking for the Lightfoot killer and the victims.
Which is where we left off in 5. And it's where we should have picked up.
Yeah. So
in this one.
I agree. And that's where, it's kind of fun because it gets a little bit, even though the Blackwell Ghost series has never been good at going back to, where a story left off. We talked about it in the last video from 2 to 3. It was a weird kind of, what the hell just happened? Yeah. This one really feels like 5 could have ended and started right here at number 7.
Yeah, I definitely feel like number 6 was just, it just showed us a few things. It was definitely more of a foreshadowing movie, almost a transition movie. Hey, this is what happened with my wife. I bought this house. That's where we're going to pick up.
Mm-hmm. So the cool thing about number 7, without going too far into detail and giving out spoilers, like I always say, that's not what we do on the Scurred channel. This one felt, like investigation, but also almost kind of true crimey.
Yeah, it had that true crimey feel to it. He's trying to figure out what happened. I mean, at this point, they're cold cases, and it definitely feels like he tried to do more than just like he really went deep into this is a cold case and I want to solve this.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun because at the beginning, like I said, when he's walking out of the woods and he's taking, I followed the same damn steps here and there, and it's supposed to be really obvious. I'm supposed to see what's going on, but I just don't see it. It's like take 1, take 2, take 27, take 372. Like he went back out into those woods a ton.
Yeah, yeah, and there was, you can see the places he's been. He has those marked, where I've been, what I've done. So that's also, it like shows you how much he really went back and tried to figure this out.
Very much so. And he's now the owner of the Lightfoot house. So he, drops mom off the kids, goes down to the house. He's just really, okay, after all of the bull crap that happened in number 6, we're going to buckle down. We're going to solve these crimes, and I'm going to find these girls. We're going to figure out what happened with these Lightfoot killings. And we're going to do it once and for all. So he's back in the house. He had a flood or something, so it doesn't really look the same necessarily because everything was tore up and he was working on it.
He went to stay there, and the second night there or something, his pipes burst.
Yeah,
super crappy.
But real homeowner kind of detail.
Yeah.
Welcome to homeownership. It's not always fun. But the phone's still there. He's still waiting for the phone to ring. He's waiting for his wife to call at this point, but it's really not. The frequency isn't like it was in 3, 4, and 5 when that phone would ring every night, same time.
There was knocks all the time.
Yeah,
there was nothing
knocks,
happening.
Right. No, it was like he very much seemed almost comfortable in the house.
Yeah, all of these things have subsided. He feels good. He's like, I'm ready to get a move on, and none of these weird things are happening, and I feel good about it.
But then, this is where the kind of the true crimey part comes up. Things start to happen and clues start to emerge. And what was the first thing that they had? Like a bloody rag or a bloody?
Yeah. So the picture in the bed.
Okay. Picture in the bed.
Trying not to spoil too much.
I know it's hard to go into detail without going into detail, but little things start popping up. Let's put it that way, where it's like all of a sudden a girl has shown up missing in the area of the house, and there's some very
incriminating stuff coming to him, and it's a lot. It's not like a little here and there. It's like almost every day he's receiving something new with details about what happened with this girl.
Yeah, and he had a cop buddy that we learned from, and I think it was 5 primarily, but he calls him and he's like, hey man, I need you to come down to the station. We have some stuff going on. It really kind of
this involves you.
Doesn't look good for you.
Right.
There's Blackwell ghost stuff involved with this girl's disappearance.
Right. And that's a big part of this. I feel this movie, because almost in the beginning feels like him trying to clear his own name.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm glad because it very well could have taken the whole tone of the movie.
Right.
And just been and I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, this guy's going to jail.
I thought that first 30 seconds, you're like, what did he do? Because they don't even really give you, he just on the phone, we need you to come to the station, and he's like, am I in trouble? And he won't say.
Can you tell me what this is regarding?
No.
When you get down here, I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, very creepy.
I didn't feel good about it. I thought, after the trauma we went through with number 6, wouldn't it be just normal at this point if they just put him in prison and it was like the end?
Yeah.
I would have been mad.
After 6, that's kind of what I was expecting. Just 45 minutes of I went to jail.
Yeah. But it really wasn't that way. I mean, it turned around pretty fast. I think the cop friend knows him well enough to know that he wasn't involved necessarily. And
also he was going from his house in a different state to this house, and while all of this is happening. So he's like, there's no way.
And they were doing all kinds of different stuff. They're swabbing DNA, and they're trying to find this and that. And, they know that there's somebody else's DNA on all this stuff, even the old stuff and the new stuff. But as clues start to submerge, the story actually gets, again, kind of true crimey. And we start to go, well, is there hope for this missing woman, and are they connected?
Yeah.
And if they are, holy crap.
Yeah, it very much gives that feel of, are these tied together? It is, how is he involved? I think that was my biggest question in the beginning is, what did he, like, how is he involved in this in any way?
And after watching the whole Blackwell Ghost series and number 7, even at the end of number 7, I can't necessarily definitively say this is why he's involved, and not involved in the killings and stuff,
Right.
but like, why is he involved at this stage looking for this woman and trying to piece the clues together? And are they connected? I mean, how could they be connected? This is like 30 years later.
Right. This is, yeah. And I think that's a lot of this movie is you're kind of just trying to figure out how it all comes together, because you're like, well, obviously it can't be the same killer or kidnapper, or it can't be the same person. So why is this happening?
And they allude to that a couple times. Like, man, that, this Lightfoot killer would be like
90.
Yeah, old. And they're not like overpowering people and cutting off body parts and sending pictures to the cops and all kinds of other weird stuff.
Yeah, and like weird stuff.
I do want to point out one thing, and this is not a spoiler, but it happens. And both of us noticed it and thought it was really funny. So in the beginning, his officer buddy's like, "Do you have a gun?" And then what happens? You can tell me.
At one point, okay, we've distinguished, hey, do you have a gun? He's like, yeah, I got a gun. And when was the last time you shot a firearm? Not since I was 8. And then later on in the movie, instead of picking up this firearm he owns, he picks up a hammer. Just a hammer. Like, that's gonna...
Generally, a hammer is a fairly effective tool.
Not when you have a gun.
But you just told us, in the first few minutes that, yeah, you have a gun. And
you were told to use this gun if something happens.
Keep it with you. And that's where, again, this thing kind of goes like he's become almost a victim of this whole thing. And the cop's like, you got to carry your gun.
Yeah, and that's how you know things are going to get crazy, is when they're like, do you own a gun? Yeah. Have you shot one? Not in a long time. Might want to do that. That's how you know. You're like, oh no.
But overall, this really lends well to the Blackwell Ghost series, in my opinion, because it gives you little details, and he never really makes the connection on a couple of these things, but it's just fun enough that you keep watching it no matter what.
Right. I think and that's why I say, like in the last video, he's good at what he does. Do I think the last movie was great? No. But he's good at what he does. He knows how to keep us in the loop, entertained. And, I'm sure looking back at this movie he created, he's probably like, why'd I pick up a hammer if I had a gun?
I don't know. Maybe he won't get that until he watches our Scurred review and subscribes and likes.
We'll talk about you a lot.
Yeah, extra. And we'll never say Blackwell Ghost 6 again. Yeah. So, I think we gave quite a bit of information. We really set the plot. There's not much to go over cast-wise because it's kind of the same guy. And his cop buddy on the phone. His mom calls him a couple times throughout, one time in particular, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And, the mom's helping with the babies. So she's significant. Yeah, she definitely plays a big role. I'm like, can you imagine going through all of this with 2 small children? I couldn't. No. Couldn't do it.
And I'm glad that they weren't really involved in this film.
Yeah, I think that also brings me comfort, is he's prioritizing his children. Like, okay, if I am doing this, I need them to be somewhere safe, somewhere I trust, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. So plot-wise, we went over. Cast-wise, we went over it. Jump scares. This one, I feel like in like 3 and 4 and 5, like tables would flip over. Yeah. And you're like, I don't know that this one was as jump scary.
I think a lot of it for me was like psychological. Like,
so, that's where this one, it did psychological, as you said. It felt different because like in the first 5 movies, again excluding 6 altogether, it was more of a paranormal vibe, where this is something else.
It doesn't fit the oh god there's a ghost. It's more like something really really terrible has happened and you're just on the edge of your seat the whole time trying to figure out why this is happening and what happened.
I'm trying to flip through the whole mental Rolodex, which I don't have a lot left, but in my head throughout the entire Blackwell Ghost 7, I'm going, did anything actual paranormal happen?
Right. I think 6 kind of messed all of that. I mean, even going into 7, I'm like, this is fake. My poor little sister, she's like, I'm so scared. And I'm like, it's fake. It's fake.
It's all fake. But I there's nothing that stands out to me necessarily in number 7, like, well, paranormally that was creepy. Like, psychological thriller, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
But paranormal wise,
there wasn't and he even said that in the end of the movie. He's like, I'm sorry there wasn't a whole lot of paranormal going on, but we just made huge steps in everything that's going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very true crime, whodunit kind of thing, but that's not bad for this film series. I think that was a more natural progression towards the end of like 4 and 5.
Yeah, I think, for sure. And I mean, the first 5, like you said, they were very paranormal, and there's ghosts and banging tables and all of this stuff. And I don't know, I feel like had it just been this kind of investigation feel all along, like, I think, well, personally, I'm biased.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been great.
Yeah. And I like the paranormal edge, but I as you get in there at this point, you're going, okay, well, like in 5, when there was like this figure looking through
the giant
windows.
Yeah.
Was that ever a ghost?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, coming in here, sitting down, I was like, if this person could have been around the whole time, and a lot of these things going on could have been that person. Like, that reflection.
Even the phone calls.
Right.
Honestly,
it could have been that person the whole time. And that's kind of where I'm like, I enjoyed 7 because it made me have to think back to all of the other ones, going, maybe this wasn't paranormal this whole time. And I mean, I'm sure there were paranormal aspects. Like, that was...
tables don't flip over without,
something.
Yeah. But it gives you a good idea of, like, why those paranormal things would be happening. And then the damn knocking. I don't know if it's just me, but Mom and I were talking about this yesterday.
Okay.
Like, we went back to the time where, she snuck around the side and banged on the window and scared the jeepers creepers out of everybody.
I try to forget that.
But like the knocking thing, like, that's just creepy. Like, nobody, I don't care who you are or what gun you have or how big your hammer is. Nobody wants to hear bang, 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 bang on your door ever.
No, I'm sorry, but my cat will, like, hit my door until she can come in, and that's enough for me. Like, I'm good with that.
So there's still those creepy elements. Even in number 7, there's still some banging on the door.
Yeah.
It just takes some more physical aspect to it, as you find out. But it's still just as creepy.
Right, because now you're
maybe it's worse. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and there's
the threat of imminent danger.
Right, and here's my thing is, yes, paranormal things are scary, but looking back and being like, this could have been a real person and really hurt him or done something really bad. That's scarier than the paranormal. Like, okay, a ghost flipped my table. A ghost can't, I don't know, kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put like plainly, when we're referencing Blackwell Ghost 7, when we talk about like physical harm, I mean we literally mean murder.
And a lot of.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah.
Trying not to spoil it.
I know it's hard.
That's what that was.
We gotta stay true to it.
I'm excited about it. That's all.
So we hit plot, we hit cast, we really hit what we like about it, what we love about it. There wasn't a whole bunch I didn't love about it?
I feel like it was one of the best movies, and that might be crazy, but I seriously think that having more, it's a real person over paranormal spooky, but it can't cause you any physical danger. Well, okay, it's not gonna like kill you
There's
or
nothing gonna
hurt
do about
anybody
it either.
else.
That's yeah.
Right.
It's a different feel.
It is. I think having that bodily aspect of somebody is out here doing these things, and this person like gets in contact with him, knows who he is.
Like this kid's never seen Poltergeist or something.
It's just it's you know.
No, I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Ending. Let's talk ending for a minute. Again, without spoiling, I actually did like the ending, and I think it leads us into greater things. And maybe you and I differ here a little bit.
I think that coming down here, I was like, that's got to be the end, right? Like, how much more? But then I talked to you, and I just like, there's a lot more they could do with this. A lot more.
Yeah.
And I 100% expect him to do that.
And that's where I am at currently. I think that this sets into motion Blackwell Ghost probably 8, 9, and 10. Which doesn't hurt my feelings.
Fingers crossed there's more
not.
Six material. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he has to keep going.
I would almost be heartbroken if he didn't.
Right. Which I didn't feel that way after 6. Like if he never makes another movie again and never have to watch it again, that's fine.
I definitely
7.
After 7, I'm almost attached to these movies. Like I don't want them to ever stop.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe you can do like a whole true crime spin-off series at this point, which is kind of the direction it's going. But the ending was good. I mean, the ending opened up 17 more cans of worms. Now we know in Blackwell Ghost number 8, when it comes around, he won't address half of those worms.
Yeah, no, nothing will be said about most of it. So,
but I hope that he'll continue at least with some of the big plot twists where we're like,
right. I mean, by the end of this movie, you're like, and it can go either way. I feel like that's the way the movie ended. Mm-hmm. It could be the last one, or it could be like 10 more.
I hope it's not the last one because I need to know.
I do too. There's a lot of questions.
I got questions, bro.
A lot of questions.
All right, so we really generously gave number 6 a 1, and this is kind of a continuation video into that, but its own standalone video. We're not using the Scurred scale, but just ballpark me a number. Considering everything that we've discussed. On a 0, this is total garbage. To 10, this was scurry. Which we discussed. It wasn't really scurry, but just give me a number based on how good was this movie.
I personally, listen, that psychological thing gets me more than anything paranormal could. So I think that's where our numbers might differ a little bit, is because to me, the edge of your seat, oh my God, what is happening? Is he going to be okay? Is everybody else involved okay? That's what gets me kind of like anxiety ridden. So I think for me, it's a solid 8 or 9, just the way it was done. I think it was done beautifully.
Generous. It was good. It was good. And I don't know, it's almost even on our previous scales, not quite fair to measure how scurry this movie is in the same parameters. It's really hard. So I think
because it's not any of those other qualifications, it's not paranormal. It's not some creepy monster that's, probably stupid in the end. It's psychological. It all is. And it leaves you questioning so much, like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7. Because he still jumps around on me a little bit, and there's still some questions that are never answered. And he picked up a hammer.
Yeah, okay. Mine might it might be a solid 8 now instead of a 9.
So if we give it the law of average, we can easily call this a 7.5.
I would say that's a good rating for it, because it is a good movie.
And I fully agree. So, a 7.5, maybe a decent 8 on the old Scurred scale. New Scurred scale, geez, this thing wouldn't be a 2.
No.
Which is why we have not used it
Yeah.
in these videos.
Yeah, these movies, it doesn't match up to the new scale because these movies are a different kind of movie. And our new Scurred scale would not do it justice.
Whole different beast. Recommend. Now, would you recommend people watch this, and any special tidbits you'd give them?
I would definitely recommend it to just about anybody, but if you're a parent or if you're like a true crime fanatic like I am, like that's what I fall asleep to at night. I love that kind of thing, and having him walk through this, and the way it ended, like it felt like a victory. And I feel like anybody who's into that true crime aspect would love this movie.
Yeah, and I stand behind what I said. I would also recommend it. I think you could very easily skip 6 and go straight to 7. Technically, with how different they are between 2 and 3, I mean, you could start with 3, watch 3, 4, 5, and just go to 7.
Yeah.
And you really wouldn't be lost.
No, I mean, nothing really happened in the first 2 that happened in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th. So it almost makes me wonder if after number 7, he's going to take it another different direction.
He's running out of directions with how much came out in this movie.
Yeah.
In some ways. I don't know. Maybe you can tie the paranormal and the true crime thing extra together, and that could be creepy.
Yeah.
Really creepy.
I just think as a
big
person,
potential.
Yeah, he's got so much potential to do so many great movies like this. Mm-hmm. And I really hope they don't stop.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty well sums it up. We would recommend the watch, and we recommend you watch us. Plug. I'm getting better at these. They're coming more organically.
Oh, good.
Subscribe, like, bell thingy.
Bell thingy. That's good. That's a good terminology for it.
You kids these days. But really a solid movie, and we do recommend watching it. We really enjoy the Blackwell Ghost series. As a whole, I think it's fair to say that this is a pretty cool series. It's always on Amazon Prime. That's like its home where you can find it. So you can rent them, you can buy them, you can do whatever you want.
And they're not a lot to rent either.
No, I think they're for $3.99 or something.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Yeah, but save yourself $5 and skip number 6.
Yeah, don't watch 6. That was a rough $5.
Did we say skip 6? Did we? I feel like
we have.
In the last 40 minutes somewhere we must have said.
Please don't watch it.
Skip 6.
Please.
Okay.
For your own mental well-being.
That said, I think we have discussed everything we can without spoiling anything about the Blackwell Ghost 7. Really super excited it came out. We saw it like drop on Friday night or something and watched it the same night.
Yeah.
And I actually have watched this now 2.5 times, almost through it a third.
So I've gotten halfway through it probably 3 times.
Okay. Halfway through it 3 times. So.
Yeah. Well, I finished it once, but halfway through like 3 more times.
There's just a lot of stuff that you got to pick up on.
Yeah. I think every time watching it, it has gotten better. And I'm like, why didn't I notice this the first time?
And I 100% agree. So watch it a couple times.
Yeah.
Maybe buy it rather than rent it.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Because it was. I feel like it was one of the better movies.
Yeah, I rented it because I didn't know if it was going to be another 6 again, and I don't need that in our video library. I just don't need it.
Yeah. Constant reminder, not great.
Yeah. All right, wrapping it up on the Scurred scale. Again, good stuff. Go watch it. Have fun. Enjoy it. It will be an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Blackwell Ghost 7. And so, as we always say, I'm Exorcist.
And I'm Boo.
And until next time,
sleep tight.